We will move on to reflection. I will our next jumpers who work behind the scene are here. We would like to hear each of you on your reflections or your takeaways on these 3 days. Anyone who, ooh, we have first volunteer here.
I'll save you from asking. Um, First off, Megan, Charlie, thank you so much. You don't have to do this. And the fact that you do this for us is beyond words. When you said on the first day, people come in usually with 1/3, they're all in, like the kid with the ice cream, 1/3, just like, I don't believe anything, 1/3 in the middle. I approach everything like this, 1/3 in the middle, because you never know what you're going to get. And if you go in with all either side of that spectrum, you could set yourself up for failure and actually go in closed-minded. So I kind of go in with an open mind right in the middle. And to say I am to the top third would be an understatement. Thank you for sharing the leadership journeys today. I found that very impactful when I was actually able to walk through that. I've never actually done that. I've never done anything like that before, where I actually saw things I thought were negatives could be positives. Never really thought about teaching that to some of my airmen that have challenges in their careers and their lives. I truly believe God puts everybody where they belong at the right time, at the right place. And I think that you are at the right place at the right time right now. And all the things that you've experienced through your lives have gotten everybody here to where we are today. So I am thankful for that. I am thankful for your entire team. This company is phenomenal. I mean, everybody we've come across has been positive, willing to accept feedback, give feedback, whatever it is. And that stems from you. So I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for inviting us to this and allowing me to be one of those 19 others I could have been that you said no to, but you said yes. So thank you.
Can we just keep it going? I'm just trying not to wreck everything cool that he just said. But Charlie and Megan, thank you so much. And I think on behalf of all of us, I think everybody's going to thank you for what it is that you do. Coming here, I had an open mind just because I had some folks that had come here prior and they talked it up, but they didn't give us the secret sauce. They're like, you'll see, right? It's awesome. It's gonna be way different, and it was way different, right? And so this week I got to thinking about starting with the gallery walk on why I still do what it is that I do. And it's because in my short-sighted opinion, there was not a civilian company anywhere out there that would do anything that I would be vaguely interested in, right? And all of them say that we care about our people. Every company says that, right? Because they have to. And I think they're all lying, right? Because what they care about is the bottom line. The company that my old man worked for, and I'll kind of make myself vulnerable here for a minute. When my old man passed away, he'd only worked for that company for a year. They did take care of my mom and us for the next 2 years, which they didn't have to do because he'd only worked with them for a year. And I've been looking for that same company. I've been looking for a company like that, and I found it in the military. And because in the military we own the people, and so we do take care of them. We own our own HR department, and I know somebody in HR. We own our own medical service, and so I know somebody over there to help people out. But I don't know of any other civilian companies that really do that put the people actually first ahead of the bottom line. And everything y'all do here is just so inspiring to me from the philanthropic mission and to the way that you all lift up the collateral duties, right? And so we have them in the military, right? We have additional duties everywhere. And when I first joined, we used to fight for them. All right, because there wasn't that many of them, and I didn't know why. Just everybody else was fighting for them, so I was the first follower. And it's like, they're fighting for this job, I want to do it, right? I want to be the guy that goes around, make sure all the fire extinguishers are still valid, right? But the fact that you have that, and every company has holiday parties, and every company has stuff. The fact that you all make it such a big deal, and I don't know if all the next jumpers really truly appreciate you know, if they haven't been anywhere else, that not everybody makes that a big deal, and the huge growth and learning opportunity that comes from that. So thanks to all the Next Jumpers for what you do. Putting up the food is a big thing, right? Setting up is a big thing. They're not little things, but most companies kind of take that as just, hey, this is your turn. You got to do it. But the fact that y'all set it up and then debrief how we did every little thing, that the leadership lessons and the growth that comes from that, it's just awe-inspiring. And I'm kind of re-blued in the Air Force after being with y'all. I don't know that I can add anything to your company, like monetary value wise, right? So I wouldn't make any money for you, but if there's anything I can do, I just really, so thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hi, y'all. Okay, I won't be that eloquent, I'm sure, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody wearing, well, no longer wearing their lanyards, but anybody who was wearing an orange lanyard this week. I just want to say thanks for the graciousness. Obviously, we've enjoyed the substance of the information, and we were talking earlier today just how quickly the days, I mean, admittedly, when we saw the schedule, we're like, wow, 8 to 7, 8 to 8 every day, but the days have really flown by. But to me, all the underlying stuff that's been going on, for example, going to the ladies' restroom, and you know, there's not only soap but lotion and floss and toothpaste, bandages. So anyways, to me, that's very thoughtful. So the undercurrent that I felt running through this week is graciousness and hospitality. And that's not easily won. I mean, that's not something you can force. It feels genuine. So anyways, I just want to say thanks to everyone who helped support us this week. The food was amazing too. So thanks.
Megan, Charlie, thank you. I know Randy, on behalf of him, also thank you, because I know he asked for our invites. What a tremendous experience for all of us. One of the things I took away, among many, is how awesome Jing was, and Nadia, and Daryl. Man, they're like ghosts. They're everywhere, and they pop up, and they take care of something, and then they disappear, right? And everyone was always smiling, because when I go to companies, the first thing I look for is what the people are doing, and they're always smiling and they're happy. And the other thing I noticed was on the wall all over the place was the ownership. Daryl had one by the bathroom. We talked about the bathrooms. I thought that was kind of neat. It's like, oh, Daryl owns a bathroom. I was like, man, he needs to clean that sink up a little bit. Just kidding. It looked good. I gave you some feedback, but it looked good. A plus, brother, A plus. But yeah, sincerely, thank you. All the small things, amazing. Everybody's so comfortable in their own skin, right? They give that kind of good feedback, and I think we're all probably a little guilty of hiding because of rank and what fears might come from that. And that's definitely one thing I'll be changing this year, is being a little more candid. And I know one of the keys to success, when I'll get off the stage, is how do you know you got it right? Is every night we talked about it. Every morning we're like, man, what'd you think about that? We'd be sitting and talking in the morning. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Three thank yous, I think. Thank you to the fellow attendees who have made this a really, really inspirational experience. Thank you to all the Next Jumpers who have facilitated it in their spare time, and their colleagues are having to work double time. And thank you to you both. A ship reflects its captain. There's two captains in this ship. My goodness, does it reflect you two? The energy, your passion, your enthusiasm for all you do is all pervasive. It's staggering. I feel like I've almost been on a grieving process through these last 3 days. The change in the emotions as my thought has finally clarified and matured, and it's nowhere near that yet. I'm going to have to reflect on this for weeks to come, I think, about how this is really going to impact me and what I'm going to take away. But there's some really obvious things I can do immediately with my team just to make it that bit better. So I'm hugely grateful to you both and to the rest of the team for that. So thank you.
So I've already thanked you, and I appreciate everything you've done. I'm usually on the push out end and not on the receive end. So it's really been wonderful to kind of take this stuff in. And my favorite quote in leadership that I've been using quite frequently in the last few years, Peter Drucker, you gave us a Peter Drucker quote. He's a great thought leader. He says, the only things that happen naturally in organizations is friction, confusion, and underperformance. Everything else requires leadership. And after this experience, I think my biggest takeaway is, I would say, and everything requires teamwork, and just the power of the team and Nadia and Jing and Daryl and what the team does here. And every facet has been amazing. So the teamwork was really the biggest takeaway for me. And thanks, everybody. It has been great.
Sure. I just want to say thank you, everybody. The hospitality here has been wonderful. The food, the work environment, I'm very envious. And all the next jumpers, thank you for all your help and sharing all your stories and lessons. Charlie, Megan, I think you guys are extremely impressive. And every day I've been coming to just thinking how you work so well as a team. And thank you for sharing your leadership journey, because now impressive doesn't even seem like the right word. It's just, I'm very respectful for you guys, and thank you for everything you do.
I want to echo again the thanks, but coming from an engineering background, I'm very, outputs oriented. So I wanted to share with you, in case you ever wonder, if we ever take this back and make a difference. I've been energized because a lot of what you talk about is the same concepts and the same ideas that I have talked about endlessly with Jonathan, and we bring in other people. One of our key people to always go to has been Beth. So having the three of us here, along with, our trusted advisors and the guy who makes all the decisions, we were able to take it a step further, probably even than you intended, and really translate the ideas to what we need to do tactically to make that happen, because we were already primed. So we have at least a page of notes completely full of exactly how we're going to go back and execute this. And we know we have at least a few more hours to develop those thoughts further that we are ready to do. So if in your thoughts and prayers this weekend, you can think of the rest of our command, because they do not know what's coming on Monday. So thank you for giving us those tools, because we may not have connected those dots without all of you.
To continue what Joellen said, I just want to say thank you all for the knowledge, and that's what it is it's knowledge, and you've spent so much time accumulating knowledge and sharing it with the rest of us who haven't had the same access to resources and knowledge, and so it's just really taking the knowledge and applying it. And we have a full list of things we're going to apply on Monday, and I'm very excited. And like I was saying, my time at MSC is coming up, but I love the organization, so I'm going to do everything I can to do what I can to make it a better place. I also want to thank all the next jumpers for their brutal honesty. It's not always easy with visitors. I know I've had moments on a ship where worst day of my life, like just sailors having an incredibly hard time. We're going out to sea for several months, and then I have to give a ship tour, and they're asking me, what's life like? It's perfect. It's the best. So I appreciate your honesty and kind of bearing your souls in front of all of us. So thank you.
All right, now that I heard what my people said, I appreciate the opportunity to interact with folks from other services and other experiences, and I still owe you a conversation. But one of the things I found most impressive was how open Nadia was in the first day, and we sat right over here, and hey, how's it going? Back and forth a little bit, and she like right away explained a challenge, or talked about a challenge, right? And we had a nice conversation about it. And then we kept revisiting throughout the week. So I feel like I was getting to participate in sort of the next jump process. So you pulled me right in. Yeah, thank you. No, but it was reflected in everything that went on for the rest of the time it was here. And so you heard my gonculator, or most of the gonculator talking. So that was, we were lucky. I feel exceptionally lucky. So thank you for getting, you already know I was very engaged before, and now I was able to get other people engaged. And I think we can as I think Jonathan said, Monday, right? It's actually started, yesterday, and I'm just really grateful for that, but also grateful for the connections and listening to, the perceptions, right? Because we've all been, the senior folks here have all been in leadership roles that some of the stuff we do, we have designs, but we don't really get the kind of results that you see here, designed results. We have design leadership programs, but not design results. And I think that's the translation for me, is how do we get to the design results, or how do we design the right results of people, right? So better me, better you, better us. I'm in. Thank you very much.
So unlike you, sir, I didn't have my leadership team here with me. They've all been here before, as I was sharing with Megan. But this is also something that kind of hit a dream of mine, because I've read the Everyone culture before I even knew that the Chaplain Corps was going into it and doing it. So from the book nerd, yay, thank you. I got to meet some idols here, but to also go, holy crap, talking to all of these people here and going, it's just not something that's wrote about, it's lived. And I want to live that kind of life. So if you got a job, in about 6 years, I'll be knocking on the door. But until then, know that within the Chaplain Corps and those that I can touch, I will absolutely be perpetuating this model.
She stole my thunder already. But Charlie, Megan, thanks for letting us come here. It's nice to finally meet you. But I work at Columbus Air Force Base, right? So my boss is full in with you guys, and we only have a single door that separates us, and it's a thin door. And so every month or so, when she has her coaching sessions, I hear this loud voice coming from, and I'm like, why on earth is she have the volume up so loud? What is happening? Turn it down. As it turns out, it's not the volume, it's just Charlie. So but it's the energy that you exude. And so that shows throughout the company. Nadia, Daryl, Jing, thank you for everything. The folks I got to have lunch with, Christian, sorry you had to put up with me. The folks we got to do the feedback with, Nicole, Shruti in London. Everybody here is just so open and so welcoming, and they just welcome us to your family. And I know that's not easy for you guys. I know that's not easy on the company. But what I want you to understand, and what from my perspective here, if you can get a couple of cops in the Air Force to buy into this, if you don't know anything about cops in the Air Force, ask people around it, right? If you can get a couple of hardened cops to buy into some of this stuff, you're doing good work. And I think our folks have bought in. I know at the base they have bought in. So all the work and all the sacrifice you guys do to make this happen, it matters, and it's going to make a difference as we perpetuate it through. So thanks.
Okay, so I'm a little late after my team, but so thank you again for this opportunity. It was really great to be here with the team and the boss, and I really appreciated the time that we had as a team to see how you do things here, and to see the vulnerability, and how the vulnerability that everyone is so open with, how it actually makes your team stronger, and it really propels everyone forward. And so I think it was a great lesson for all of us of just, being true to yourself, and just owning, everything about you, the good and the bad, and not being afraid of showing that, and to use that to propel yourself and your teams forward. So thank you again. It's been a great opportunity. There's things that Jonathan and Joellen and I, we do always talk about, and this kind of gave us that edge to really go back and propel things forward that we knew needed to be moved forward, but now we have more of a roadmap and more kind of energized, the energy to do it. So thank you. And thank you, Jean, Nadia, and Daryl for everything. And thanks to the rest of the Next Jumpers for everything. And again, thanks for the entire week.
I'd like to also say thank you all just for the opportunity to be here. I just still can't believe some of the opportunities I've been given, including this, having my boss send this to me, have me have opportunity to come to this. And now I feel very grateful because I work on a staff where most of the folks have been, and now I've been. So like now I understand like all this LHF and all these code words they were saying. I'm like, yes, I finally know the lingo. But I just really want to thank you all and how encouraged I am to see a company like this being so bold in your emphasis on people as human beings, and that you're truly valuing the human, and you're not seeing them as just cookie cutter, but truly recognizing them as living, dynamic people that are changing and all have something to give and contribute. And I've seen that in the climate and the culture here, the hospitality from the team that led this all the way through just everyone we've met, that culture that you've set, but also that idea. Something that really kind of surprised me, but I found so refreshing was even in the coaching that we did, the situational workshop. You know, we're coming here to learn, and so I'm expecting, oh, they're gonna kind of coach us, and then the fact that they were asking us to coach them. And so I do want to thank the team that I coached. I can't even remember people's names, I apologize, but the folks that just like embraced us and were just like so ready to learn from us. And it's like, wow. And just that alone shows the belief that everybody can learn something from everybody, even though we're here to learn. You know, you guys are seeking to learn from us. And so I think the way you've modeled that, and I'm just very encouraged that this is happening and that a company is doing this and trying to spread that to truly get back to seeing people as people, and the gifts that we share. And so I just want to thank you for the work you're doing, and for the opportunity I've had to be here and to learn more about this. So thank you.
So as everyone else has said, thanks and admiration. And this is called reflection. And Craig and I had no idea what we were letting ourselves in for, actually, or the richness of the experience we were going to go through. And I think my reflection is I've normally got the emotional depth of a puddle. I think my wife would definitely say that. And I reflect in about 3 milliseconds. And I don't know where to begin. You have blown my mind so far that I've got an overnight flight now, and I don't think I'm going to get a jot of sleep as I try and think through. And Craig and I think really owe it to the Navy who sent us now to think through what we can do. We're so far behind so many of you who have heard about this. So reflection, nowhere near ready to reflect, if I'm really, really honest. But I know I feel privileged. I feel really privileged to have come and shared this with all of you. And thank you to everyone. I mean, not just the brilliant Next Jumpers, but all of you as well, for all of your insights into this. So I feel incredibly privileged at this stage of my sort of life and career, which I don't know, on reflection, I'm realizing I'm definitely in that stuck situation all of a sudden. So I guess I want to make a little promise to you that the response to all of your graciousness and generosity is that I won't turn down the opportunity you've given me at this stage, and I will try and put it into practice. And I suppose the last thing, so encouraged by you to just say something, from intuition. I don't know how Team Next Jump feel at the end of each of these, where everyone, all these strangers stand up and tell you how brilliant your company is. I don't know, it must be weird. And what and part of the great privilege that you've given us is an insight into just how bloody hard it is. It was visceral, tangible, and and a real privilege to see many of you, several of you, just struggle through your everyday life in trying to get the best version of you. And so as an old git who has seen a couple of organizations and a couple of teams, I would say rejoice in how difficult it feels, and rejoice in those moments where you just want to cry, because that is the human condition. It doesn't get any better than that. And I would just say, as an outside observer, you're in an incredible, incredible place to explore that human condition and explore what you can make of yourselves. And there must be, despite what we all say, there must be days when you doubt that. But as an old person, I'd say you are in a really, really good place to explore and make the most of that. I've been long, haven't I? Sorry.
I'd go ahead and agree with Admiral in his same thoughts. I'm still definitely have a lot of digesting and more deeper thought to really reflect and put together some final thoughts on what we just went through. But a couple quick reactions. Just sitting here, it hit me that tomorrow morning when I go to open the fridge back home, it's going to be a pretty sad moment when I realize I don't have 30 high-end healthy beverages to choose from. It's just going to be milk or water for me, but I'll get on. I'll cope. I am on a more serious note. Thank you so much for all the amazing hospitality, the food, the water, the drink, the conversations. To Daryl, Nadia, Jing, and every next jumper I got to interact with this week. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your home. I was reading, I think it was super timely, reading the Adam Grant's Give and Take book. I think I've chatted with a couple folks about it this week. And for anyone not familiar, Adam Grant, top Wharton professor, School of Business there, and psychologist, and makes a pretty convincing argument that, contrary to popular belief, nice guys don't necessarily finish last in the business world. And he makes a strong argument for the giver, and a lot of the most successful business folks or organizations are giving organizations, and it really just been loudly resonating through my head this entire week of how Next Jump just epitomizes everything about a giving organization, from their lowest levels, creating givers at the lowest levels all throughout the whole organization, and to see the benefit that not only comes back to them, but also shared with the world. So thank you so much for that. It's totally fueled me, energized me to as a recovering matcher. I'm and again, the leadership journey and mapping out my own past and leadership journey, and really getting to pick out the point in my career where I started to slowly transition from worrying about just myself and worrying about not doing more work than my peer or my predecessor, and what's fair, and not getting overworked, and switching gears to a more giving mentality. This has just motivated me to do that so much more, and look forward to taking it back to my command. So thank you so much.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is you are everything they say you are. I had the privilege of hearing a lot about Next Jump through obviously Chris and our boss who came back. We've actually adapted quite a few different things that they learned along the way. But I'm normally the challenger in my company. I'm like, John comes back with a great idea. I'm like, here's another idea. Okay, great, let's do it. I don't even know what that means, but okay, let's figure it out. So I think for me, I'm leaving. There's so many different emotions that I felt over the last few days. I came into this with a very positive mindset. It's kind of how I try to do things. No matter what, I was going to get something out of this. It's just the way that I think. But I'm walking away with a lot more than I thought that I was going to have. I'm truly inspired, being kind of the gatekeeper of our culture, and ensuring that everyone is really growing and developing. Working with a lot of I'm the oldest person in my company. So working with a lot of young people, I think I've just, I've even hit a wall. Like, I've never worked. The reason I stayed Adapting Social is because I've never worked for someone who was truly invested in me. I've always worked in a place where it was all about the greater good of the company and not really about how I can develop. So that's really what sold me, and why I live, sleep, eat, and breathe Adapting Social. But I think you guys have really just empowered me to be able to give that to my team. And I think, just some of the experiences with Christian, I mean, meeting you were like an open book. And just, so we talked about you for like an hour last night, just how incredible your email. I got an email. He told us that he was going to email us at 11 o'clock. And we got an email at 11 o'clock. And it was not just like, hey, thanks a lot. It was a very in-depth understanding of what he took away from a coaching session. And, it's a lot of struggles that we see with our team. And a lot of the reason why we're here today I'm walking away today with hope that I'm going to be able to improve what we're doing. So, you know, I'm just really, really extremely grateful. Not everybody just gives things away like this. I think for us, we're the highest level of, there's no one for us to learn from in our positions. We're trying to teach people, and I'm walking away knowing that I'm not the coach that I thought I was, and that there's so much growth that I need to do if I want there to be change in my team. So I just appreciate, you know, you kind of allowing me to find some things about myself, and just creating an open platform where you just invited us here. I didn't have to do any hoops or backflips or anything else to get in the doors here and learn all of this valuable information. You graciously welcomed us into your home, and I'm just extremely grateful for it. So thank you.
I just want to say ditto. That's it. For me, this is my second time being here, so I was extremely excited and open-minded for coming back, unlike the last time where I was very skeptical. The last session or the academy I was at was the feedback one, so I had a lot of great knowledge coming into this. The first thing when I walked off the elevator was Nadia opening her arms to me. It's like, I remember you. How's it going, Chris? And it was just such a warm and inviting feeling. And just everybody who recognized me was like, oh, Chris, how's it going? And it was just, they don't have the amount of faces that they see walking through these doors every single day, as well as the amount of academies that they do, to know that I'm walking into the door where they remembered me is a really touching feeling, and makes me feel like I just walked into my second home. So for everybody here, I just want to thank all the next jumpers for whoever remembered me. Thank you. The first thing I said to Daryl was, where's Laura? Because it's just, they brought such a great presence to these academies. So it was just refreshing to see so many familiar faces coming back and knowing that they were still here and, you know, going strong. So for that, I just want to say thank you to everybody. The knowledge that I gained from being here is just unbelievable. In our company, we practice servant leadership, and you guys represent that so much. And to learn from you guys is honestly a privilege and a blessing for us, because you have to be in the trenches with your team to know how it feels. And I feel like you guys know what it takes to do the job, and you really showcase that. I mean, to the point where, Charlie, you're getting down and dancing with everybody, and, you know, seeing the dance. What do you guys do? The dance battle. I was showcasing that to my team. I was like, these are the leaders of the company, and they're doing it with their team. So for me, just being able to take away that other companies like ours and yours are practicing the same thing that we're doing, and it, obviously something is right here. So thank you.
So endless thanks are in order, like everyone has said, to the team that have been operating, executing, supporting, leading. Thank you to everyone. I was told once that the greatest compliment you could receive is for somebody to copy what you're doing. And I think that's reflected by, you know, the team at Adapting Social, the colonel who said that back where they are, they're already using a lot of that, plus the few people who said they plan to implement it. And I think that's also reflective of you guys accomplishing the mission you set out to do to help others get better. So thank you.
Both in a support background, we are generally not needed until we're needed, right? So when we get something, it's generally secondhand, hand me down. Our building, for an example, is where we work. It's pretty wrecked. So we don't get the best of the best, right? So I was given this opportunity coming back off of leave, and the boss is like, hey, we got to hand the keys over to someone else. You and I are going to be TUI. We're going to Leadership Academy. It's like, So just like with everything, I'm a bit skeptical when something's given to us. Like, okay, why? Right? Why? And I'll be honest with you, getting here, I was still skeptical. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing it? What are you guys about? So, of course, we do a little bit of research. And you know what's out there with research? There's a lot of opinions from SALT, right? Some salty folks tend to leave opinions. They have the opportunity to spew hate and say whatever they want. I'll be honest with you, it really didn't tie in for me until both of you spoke today, right? When you guys gave your story, you kind of get a little look, peek underneath the curtain of why you do what you do and what you're about. So just feedback, I would suggest maybe jumping with that up front.
We tried that and nobody believes us.
I'll tell you, you've got a good story, right? You guys have a good story. You got a great company. So, hey, for what you bring and what you do to us for the Department of Defense, and then the other agencies that are out here. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. So cheers to you.
No, that was not for dramatic effect. I just want to say thank you, really, to the whole team, Megan, Charlie. I feel very fortunate because I went to Boston in October, and then so now to come back now and be at the mothership and seeing how it's ran. And guess what? The story doesn't change. You talk to Next Jumpers in Boston, you talk to Next Jumpers here, it's truth throughout. And so I look forward to going there with it. We were with Egg, was in on the telecon and everything. So we'll be getting in contact with you later on and getting that going this summer. All right, but really appreciate y'all. And for Gene and Dave, the counseling session with y'all, again, just like someone else already said, I thought we were going to be receiving. And that's why I really wanted to come to the coaching. You know, you listen to some of this stuff, you kind of question yourself a little bit on kind of how you're doing it, because you know what you got you here won't get you there type of thing, what we always say. And so to be able to critique y'all, and then you being so receptive and then receiving your emails, really made it special for me. Validated that, you know, we do have some commonality and more to give. So I really appreciate y'all for that.
I'm just going to throw in a quick another comment. Shay reminded me of my daughter, and when I think about one of the best endorsements you can give to a company, I was texting my daughter about how much she needs to look. She works in New York City, and you know, I just tell her how much she needs, because she's not being challenged, she's not being developed, and she just is kind of stagnant in her job. And you know, that's the best endorsement I can give a company is I wish my daughter worked here.
Follow right on that. So yet again, my colleague unwittingly stole my thunder. I was going to really thank Schaefer. It was that moment when I was like, okay, this stuff's real. These people are getting real. They're being, you know, they're like Brene Brown would say, you know, daring greatly. They're really coming into their truth. And that was the first one that I really said, oh my gosh, she is speaking some truth. There's something special going on here. So, you know, I'm committing based on Shay's example, the way she modeled for me is to commit to being a better me, stop lying, stop hiding, to really try to come out and make that difference that she doesn't know yet, but you know, she's now my new training partner, my new talking partner. So she's been trying to get me to come out of the shadows and maximize my potential for a long time. She's probably going to get a title change. We're going to try to call her a co-director, and we might move offices together. I mean, a lot of what I saw them model, I want to do with the unwitting Ellen. You know, this was ostensibly for the folks who we didn't get to meet, right? We didn't get to spend time with. When the government shut down and a lot of our civilian colleagues, team members went on furlough, a lot of us had to do double duty. So I really can empathize and respect what all of you that we didn't get a chance to have any stage time have really done to enable this to happen and to get us off the guided path. When I take those college tours that I said I do so well, so often, as one of my guilty pleasures, I love getting off the guided path. I love not talking to the tour guide, the sophomore that's been trained, but to the students. I pull them everywhere. My kids get all upset with me, but I pull them out and say, how are things really here? And that's what you all did so well, was give us that get us off the guided path and show us how things are really here. Charlie and I have done leader development together for 20 years or so. And what we say our approach is, and we're cynical about it, but we take leaders out of the field, we put them into a class for a week or 6 weeks, and we scrub their scales and we get them all shiny and re-blued. And we get them ready to go, but then what do? We put them right back in the dirty aquariums. And I think what makes this approach so different is this seems to be a systemic way to keep aquariums clean. It's not just about taking the employee out, getting them refreshed, putting them back in dirty aquariums. So I think that's what's news for me. And so for that, I just want to thank all of you. Thanks so much. It's really been a great, looking forward to putting things into practice well, my talking partner's on leave next week, so I'm gonna have to wait another week. But so I'm surprised coming back from Fort Lauderdale. Thanks.
I'll just give it to a brief reflection. This is really about changing mindsets, right? About changing mindsets from thinking primarily in terms of entities, the lone wolf, the lone individual, business units, business entities, resources, to thinking in terms of relationships and thinking in terms of cooperation, in which we can all co-evolve together. And I hear those terms of co-evolve together here, and I hear terms of ecology and ecosystems. And it just reminds me to stop thinking in terms of entities and think in terms of frameworks of cooperation. Stories are really powerful. It reminds me that people don't think in terms of depth. People think in terms of images and stories and pictures. And it's truly a learning organization. So I really appreciate this. It was deep and yeah, lots to reflect on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting us. Everyone was so authentic and so genuine. And the hospitality was outstanding. Thank you very much. I think that the richness of the experience is what surprised me. It's the situational workshops and the leadership trainings and the 10X that, up there in front of a bunch of strangers, you're talking about your strengths and weaknesses. I thought that was outstanding. I think my team and I, we go back with as many questions as we have answers, but I think that's probably how it's designed. So thank you very much for inviting us and for the experience. Thank you.